The Russian Bolshevik Revolution 1917. The Russian Revolution 1917 is considered as an important event in world history. The Russians had been oppressed and suppressed by the Tsar of Russia. The Russian Tsars who inherited the position were all dictators and enjoyed uncontrolled rule over people. People did not have any rights during this period. The Tsars were so cruel and pitiless on people that if anyone demanded for any rights, he was tortured, suppressed, and severely punished or condemned to be sent to the bone-chilling and dead cold of Siberia. This uncontrolled and oppressive Tsardom became the reason for grief, poverty, and suffering among people. The Russian farmers, laborers, and peasants were not getting enough income despite working very hard. They became very poor. Under the leadership of Father Gapon, a large rally was taken out to the Tsar's residence, Winter Palace, 22nd January 1905, Sunday. These people were unarmed, while some had the Tsar's picture in hand with captions like "Long live the little white lord of Russia" written on it. The Tsar's army opened fire on these innocent people, because of which thousands of innocent people died, and the snow in Petersburg, where the Tsar's palace was situated, turned red with blood. This day is known as Bloody Sunday in history. Around this time, a large number of Russians got provoked and became restless as the weaknesses of the Tsardom had become obvious when a small nation like Japan had defeated a massive nation like Russia in the Russia-Japan War, 1904-5. In order to pacify the angry Russians, an announcement to call for a Duma Legislative Assembly, which had not been called for years, was made. Eventually, 4 such Duma were called. But before it can take steps to satisfy the citizens, it had been called off. On 8th March 1917, the oppressed workers of Petrograd called for a strike. The Tsar sent his troops to contain this event, but the army refused to shoot these people. As a result, the revolution began. After the fall of the Tsardom, the power fell into the hands of Kerensky-led Menshevik group minority. Except for Lenin, everyone in Russia was happy with the fall of the Tsar. But Lenin believed in the importance of laborers as propagated by Karl Marx, while the Menshevik group believed in the importance of the middle class. As a result, Lenin instigated the Bolsheviks against Mensheviks and in November 1917 declared the final revolution and got the reins in his hands. This came to be known as the Socialist Bolshevik Revolution. Thus, the 300 years old Tsardom came to an end, and for the first time, Russia was without a Tsar. Efforts for world peace. The League of Nations. The horrors of the World War explained the absolute necessity of world peace to the nations of the world. And for this, a need for an international organization was felt. So it became necessary to think actively and immediately about world peace. The American President Woodrow Wilson had contributed substantially in the establishment of the League of Nations. The 14 points suggested by Woodrow Wilson were presented during the Paris peace process on 10th January 1920. The League of Nations was formed. Aims of the League of Nations. 1. To maintain international peace and security. 2. Every nation to respect the unity and integrity of other nations. 3. To give up the policy of war. 4. To develop international relations. 5. to solve international disputes peacefully through negotiation or mediation. 6. If any nation ignores the League of Nations or its mediations, it would be declared as a rebel nation. The League of Nations established for world peace did not manage to keep a control over the imperialist policies of the superpowers, and in 1939 the Second World War began.